Hey, welcome everybody. I have a special guest. His name is Paul Snow. He is an Austin area Bitcoiner and the organizer of the meetup.com Austin Bitcoiners meetup. Welcome, Paul.
Well, thank you. Um, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. This doesn't need to be absolutely formal. I just wanted to give you that little bit of an introduction.
Yeah, that's fine. Uh, anyway, I don't mind the introduction. So it is the Austin Bitcoin meetup to
Okay.
get them just right, so that you can Google it. You'll find it. It's not a problem if anybody's interested.
And
The
that's how we've met.
Right.
I searched through meetup.com, which I've been a member of for like a decade now, just looking at organized events, like people getting together, trying to practice their hobby. And Paul, just to let you know, typically I have like 30 people watch this and they're all within the Hex community.
Okay.
So this is me communicating and putting my vibe out there with people who already know about Hex.
Sure. So eh, one of the reasons that I wanted to talk to you, we this came up last meetup for the Austin Bitcoin meetup, was I was interested in the mechanisms you have in Hex. I'm not entirely sure. Um, do y'all have a stable asset that you're running, or uh, maybe it's just staking? I'm not really sure what you do.
We don't have a stable coin.
Do you have
We
staking?
we don't have two coins either. It's just one coin, and yes, it stakes.
Okay, so explain your staking and how that works.
Okay, so it's a ERC20 token, and you stake it with the contract. It gives you shares. It credits your wallet with shares in the system, and based on the amount of shares is how much um, new tokens created by inflation coming into the system. That's a set amount. 3.69% per year is created, and that only goes to the staking people. So those shares uh, credit you while it is that you're staked, and then whenever you in stake, the tokens are in your wallet.
Okay, and uh, and that's 3.9% per year, every year forever.
3.69
Three
forever.
six. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a constant flow there, and it only goes to the people who are staked. So
Now
people
three
who
point
hold
six.
liquid, it doesn't reward.
So 3.69 of the staked tokens.
3.69 of
69. Sorry.
the total in existence tokens is that's the flow of new inflation per year from the contract.
Okay. So you have constant supply inflation of just under 4%.
Yes.
Okay. All
And
right.
the where does that new inflation go? It goes to the people who staked. So only the staker class is what we call them. The
Right.
people
Right.
who
Right.
actually settle down and stake into
So, what
the
percentage of
contract.
hex entire hex supply? What percentage of that is staked right now?
10 to 12% right now.
Really? So why isn't it higher?
Because there's about that same amount that's on exchanges as liquidity, and then also in people's wallets, and then there's about 80% that's owned by an origin address. So we have this asymmetrical balance with our entire system.
Well, so if you have 80% sitting in an origin address, and who controls the origin address? Is it the protocol?
So it's yeah, we don't know who controls it, but I think that there's AI that controls the moves in it.
Okay. And is the origin address active?
Here and there, yes, and it's always done benevolent deeds towards the project's success.
Okay. All right. Well, simply because, you could say that certain addresses that we know Satoshi Nakamoto mined are origin addresses in some sense, and those tokens haven't moved. That's something that's observed all the time. So there's some similarity there.
And the origin doesn't get any portion of that inflation. They never stake.
Right. Is there anything in the protocol that would keep them from staking?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
And I believe that as we continue to go through the years and the inflation continues to come into the system, then the origin address will be less of the size that it is now. It'll start to lose its size.
Well, it's losing its size constantly.
Right. But something that's interesting is Hex is an honest staking system to where, like, if you stake, you can cancel, but you have to face penalties.
Right.
And so when you face those penalties, then half of those penalties go to the origin address and half of those penalties go to the stakers who have kept their promises. So whenever it is that you end your stake, there's a lot of mathematics that's involved, in order for Ethereum. There's a lot of gas price at the end of your stake, because Ethereum has to do so much work in order to figure out, all the wallets involved, who was honest about staking, how much rewards you get per day based on your shares. So you can basically, because there's a start and stop to every day, you can day by day see how many hex you got paid out per share. So you can kind of do the math.
So it has daily payouts?
It has a stop and start to every day to where you can do the mathematics, but you can't scrape that payoff or payout that day. Instead, you have to wait till your stake is ending or you have ended it yourself. I'm sorry. So
before you go there,
you have to end your stake in order to get anything back out.
Okay.
So it's not a day by day thing, but you can keep the mathematics day by day because we have great tools for you to do that.
Do you know how many people are staking?
I think we're up to 200,000.
How many staking accounts, not people. I shouldn't say that. How many staking accounts are there?
Right. It's somewhere between 200,000 and 250,000.
Wow.
And the average is 7.5 years.
Wow.
And because we have all these stakes into the future, we have forward projection analytics, so we can see a chart of forward projection.
So walk me through staking. Let's say I've got 100. Is there a minimum stake?
No minimum stake.
Okay.
So the minimum time period would be 1 day. You do it in days, so up to 5,555 days. Because 15.2 years. But we go by the amount of days whenever you're typing it in. So that's 5,555 days is the maximum amount that you can stake it out for.
Okay. All right.
And
so let's say, let me walk through that. So I have 100 hex, and I'm going to stake it for 100 days.
Okay.
And so I do that.
You would go to go.hex.com.
Okay.
And that's a interface for you to stake with the contract. You'd have your MetaMask wallet inside your browser when you do this.
Yeah.
And then so you just type in the amount of days and pay the gas fee in order to make that stake. And then when the day rolls over, then it'll enact that stake. So you
Okay.
could cancel it before the day rolls over and get that hex back with no penalty.
Sure.
But once it enacts it, then you're locked in to the penalties that would ensue if you had to.
Okay.
We call that emergency end staking. You know, some people who saw huge gains, some of them emergency end staked or reposition their stakes at some point. And then you would just wait out the time period. And then after your stake becomes due, you have 2 weeks until you would face penalties to end stake. So you need to analyze this, everybody, each on their own. So it would penalize you. I believe it's 1% per week. If it is that you don't unstake, so that like all those people that pass away or their seed phrases were lost or whatever, no, their stakes aren't attended to, then they would lose 100% of their value over the course of a year or two. And so we don't have any stagnant satoshis in our system.
But you would the people that have them in their wallets and lose their keys would be stagnant.
And then so after their stake ends, then there's 2-week time period where you don't incur penalties. That's when you're supposed to end your stake, like run the function of ending your stake and minting your hex back into your wallet.
Right.
But if they don't do that, then it's a slow bleed penalty until it goes to zero, so we don't have to worry about them anymore being in our system and being stagnant.
As far as active stakers are concerned, but people who own hex, they could pass away, and that hex could get burned effectively because nobody has the key to that address. Maybe
it would just be stagnant liquidity in their wallet. Yeah.
But you wouldn't be paying staking rewards to it. Of course, you could, if you stake for 15, the maximum amount, it's 15 years, whatever it is, then something happens to you. Well, then for 15 years, you'll acquire rewards.
Yeah, true.
But at the end, they'll get burned away, but it might take a lot longer because maybe they have a lot, because it compounds, I assume. When you get rewards, does that increase your staking balance?
You get rewards, does that increase your staking balance? No. There's a principal column and there's interest column, which we call yields. So I don't believe so.
So what you really want to do is stake for, I don't know, week, withdraw everything, and then restake so that you're getting stake rewards on the gains that you made or something like that.
Well, okay, so there's an interior mechanism that continues to ratchet, is what we call it. And so that's the price of shares. As the system goes on and on, people locking up their coins, staking them, and then unstaking them and staking them and unstaking them. Whenever they stake them, they get a certain share rate. And when they unstake them, that share rate ticks up. And so the longer you wait to get into the system and get your specific share rate, the worse share rate you're going to get. So every day the share rate gets worse.
And the share rate doesn't go down, it's always going up.
The share rate is ratcheting up in the price of Hex tokens. So it's right now it's 26,600 Hex tokens to get 1 trillion shares. So that ratio, and it just keeps going up.
Okay, so you're getting 3.69 tokens Are you getting your portion of the inflation based on how many shares you own, not by how many tokens you have?
Correct. It's based on
Now, when you
how many
withdraw,
shares. It's
when
based
you
on real fast. It's based
yeah,
on how many shares you have. Um, the inflation, the 3.69 of the entire system, inflation that's flooding only to the 10% that are staked, their shares represent how much of that they get.
right,
And this is 3.69 of the entire system. Therefore, to these guys, that looks like 36%.
yeah, yeah, but it's 36% in tokens or in shares. It's in tokens.
In tokens, because their share is their peg into the system,
So
and
what's
they
the rate
continue to
of
have these
increase
tokens
on
coming
the
to them.
yeah? What's the rate of increase on the cost of shares? Is that defined in days or years, or how does that work?
I have a chart for it, but I don't
Yeah,
I
you
don't
can
really
share
know.
it. I'm sorry. I basically I came to talk about the mechanisms that you use in Hex because somebody else asked me questions about it, and so I was like, well, I really don't know, but I know a guy.
Yeah. Well, this is recorded, so you can just pass it on to them.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember where it is that I saw that. The share rate. Okay. Let's try this one. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can.
So this yellow line is hex tokens per T-share. And this little jog up was
Yeah.
because this was the end of the adoption 1 year phase. For this day, the origin address staked for 1 day. So that's why it jumped up, because it staked and then it unstaked. And because it unstaked, um, the price jumped up,
Right.
because it's all based on large amounts being unstaked is whenever our T-share rate goes up. So it's at the end of the stake.
Okay.
So the shares continue to
What
get
drives
more
that?
and more rare.
So what drives the curve? The share rate goes up when people take their tokens out.
When when those shares are deleted and the hex is minted, um, something inside the contract ratchets up the price of hex per T-share. hex per share. So the next person who visits the contract who wants to earn yield has to pay more hex in order to get the same amount of shares. So without this interior mechanism of the contract knowing to make it more and more rare, then this whole system wouldn't work.
You know, maybe. I mean, yeah. And what's the purple? So that's the share. What's the hearts share?
So hex is the token, and then
Right.
hearts are the decimals of the token. So that's just what that is.
Decimals?
The decimals, yeah, the like Satoshi, Bitcoins and Toshis.
Uh-huh.
Or
why would
sats.
Satoshis? Oh, you're talking about the supply?
I'm saying that that you know how there's Bitcoin and then there's Satoshis.
Yeah.
Well, we have hex and we have hearts.
Oh, well, I hear those words, but I don't understand them because Satoshis are just low decimal places on the token. You know, one Bitcoin is the same thing as 1 billion Satoshis, right? Because there's 8 decimal places. Does that make sense? Well, 100 million actually. Sorry.
So up here at the top, it says hearts per share.
Yeah.
And then this one says hex per T share.
Okay. What's a T share versus a share?
So hex is the token, and a T share is 1,000,000,000 shares.
Oh, okay.
And hearts is 1 decimal of a hex token, and a share is
How many
1 trillionth of a T share.
Right. So
So
how
this
many
is just the
decimal
same chart in 2 different ways.
do you have? A trillion?
I'm not sure how many decimals are there. There might be 8. There might be 8 decimals.
8 decimals. Okay.
I'm not sure.
Well, if there were 8 decimals, then the purple line is just 10 times higher because it's in trillions as opposed to.
But it's relative to 1 trillionth also.
Right. Well, no, you're talking about shares, but if your decimal places 8 points, and trillion shares. See, trillion is 9 digits under the decimal point, a trillionth, right? But yeah. Anyway, I think I understand it, and if I'm wrong, it's not material.
I think we both understand it from our own perspective.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
It's 2 representations of the same thing. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's fine. All right. Well, I guess so the price goes up. Oh.
So a buddy of mine created this hexdailystats.com. Daily, it'll tell you what the T-share price is. Here's the 2,621. Oh, wait, that's in US dollars. My bad. 26,000 is what I meant to say. 666 hex per T-share. So that's per trillion share. And then the latest day to tick over, we were able to analyze that we got 6.362 hex per T-share, as long as we owned those T-shares by staking, then we got
Right.
this payout for that day.
And your payout is per day? Is there an interface where you see your current balance of your staking account?
There's several of them. There's
Okay.
several interfaces where you could type in your wallet. And then we also have like mobile apps.
So how much gas does it take to withdraw?
So when you say withdrawal,
Or
do you mean
to
end your
end your
stake or
staking,
move around on the Ethereum network?
to end staking. So I've gone my 10-day, my week. Let's say I had my 100 shares. I went my 100 days. Okay. Now I have 2 weeks to end staking. Is that right?
Yeah, let's say it took you $5 to stake it and $25 to unstake it.
Okay.
It doesn't seem like there's that many days. Some people were caught on the far end of like a 3-year stake paying $400 for gas fees because of the Ethereum network bogging it down month to month, you know?
Right.
So all of us Hexicans, we know that Saturday night is a great time to stay up late and do your trades or move your stuff around or in stake.
Right. I'll I show this in the meetup quite often. Uh, it would be interesting for your um, it would be interesting for your group. I just have to remember how to get to it. I'll just do it this way. Marks. Um, have you shared it with the Joho's mempool size statistics?
Maybe not. I'm not sure if I have. I think you pressed the wrong button, so he'll be back. In the meantime, let's put a banner down there. Let's listen to some ducks in the park.
Hey, I'm sorry. I newbie error of clicking, not failing to click or something, whatever. I chased a link when I shouldn't have. Can I chat? I see the comments, but I don't see a entry box for posting something.
Do you want to share that your screen?
I can share my screen.
Okay.
Do you want me to share the screen?
Yeah, so there's a present button down there.
Yeah, I see that. Now I need to not do the mistake I did just now, which was
so do share tab instead of window or screen.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'm just setting up a window to actually share that isn't. I have a 55-inch monitor, and if I share something that's too big, then it's hard to see in the video. So, okay, I'll present. Let's see, present. If I say share screen, will it go to a menu and let me click the window?
You should have all the screens shown to you.
Okay.
So I would advise share tab. Or window.
Yeah, it's not giving, the only thing it's telling me is share screen. It's not giving me a share tab. Let me, can I, if I click private chat and I post something, can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So why don't you share it instead of me? So this is what I wanted to share. Go.
Jeffrey Ramsey in the YouTube comments, he wanted to say you might mention to him that the gas fees are the reason Richard is forking the ETH blockchain.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. We got visual.
Yeah, there you go. So what this is showing you, if you can see towards the bottom there, just a little deep. All right, there you go. So you can look at any point in time and see what the gas fees are in Ethereum. The historical chart is much more volatile than this chart, but
I just clicked
so
on 6 months.
yeah. So that's 6 months. So you can see places where the mempool is low, the gas fees are low, and then when it goes higher, then it gets a bit more expensive. And you'll see that I have a hard time seeing any blue. Take your mouse and just click and then drag to the right and pick a section of the graph.
Click and drag.
Yeah. So that you can zoom in on a section there. So you can see some detail that you can't see. Yeah. Okay. So where those brown layers are, you can look at the chart and see that those are places where the price got higher.
Nice.
So that can help you, when you look at the chart, it can help you anticipate when your gas fees are going to be lower and when they're going to be higher. Click all. Yeah, there you go. You can see some of those places back in the past where it really got expensive. So the great big brown splotches around 2021. Actually,
so here's the bull run right here.
Yeah. And I'm kind of surprised a little bit because obviously Ether goes a lot further back than that. Maybe he didn't start. Did you really click all?
Mm-hmm.
Here, I can click all on mine. Yeah.
They're dumping data.
Yeah, I guess he wasn't capturing data until 2021. I don't know. Now, if you click, you can see that there's Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash and Dogecoin and other things.
Oh, right.
The first one's Bitcoin. You click that one, and then click all, and you can scale it if you. Oh, well, I don't know about you because your monitor might be smaller than mine. I have a lot of flexibility in scaling it for the presentations, but you can see back there in end of 2017, coming into 2018, some of that FOMO that drove Bitcoin up to $20,000 right there, and the fees got just crazy expensive.
Well, look at what's happening now. That's nice. That's a high. That's the fifth highest.
Hike.
Oh, okay.
Stretch it over. Click and just grab the last little bit of that chart, and we'll see what it is. Yeah. So that's that's kind of this March rise that we're getting. I mean, was Bitcoin is like 27,000, 28,000 last time I looked.
Hey, Paul, it's 7. We got to go to yours.
Oh, you got to run. Okay. Yeah, 28,000. All right. Well,
thanks for letting me meet with you on this.
Yeah, thanks for talking to me about staking in Hex. Appreciate being here, and I hope you guys, your community, finds this link helpful.
Cool, we appreciate it, and see you in your space.
All right, bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. That is spreading the word about Hex. If they want to do the best thing they can in blockchain for finance, they'll come to Hex because it's secure, it's 100% uptime, it earns you yield without giving up your keys, without putting your coins at risk, asking somebody to return them later on. It's steady. You communicate with the contract and the contract only. No middlemen. It's awesome. Take my word for it. See you guys later.